Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. For dinner this first night, I made blackened catfish with Gouda grits. I will have the recipe that I used linked in the description box below for you. I didn't follow the recipe exactly when it came to the grits, and that's because I had these 5-minute grits on hand, and the recipe called for just regular grits, but I wanted to use what I had and not go out and buy, the regular cooking grits when I already had these, so I just kind of slightly modified it. In this pot, I've got some water with chicken bouillon powder and just a pinch of salt. I brought this up to a boil. Once it's at a boil, I'm going to slowly whisk in the grits and then cover that with a lid, turn it down to about medium-low, and simmer those for maybe about 5 or 6 minutes. Once that is there, I'm going to remove the lid, give it a whisk, and then we're going to add in all the yummy goodness to these grits. So we're going to do a couple pats of butter. And I turned the heat off because the grits are done at this point. There's enough heat to warm everything up that I'm adding. Added a couple tablespoons of cream and then some shredded Gouda cheese. Next, for seasoning, you can season these any way you like. I'm going to do some garlic powder, onion powder, a touch of cayenne pepper, and then salt and pepper to taste. And a quick note, I got the Gouda cheese at Walmart. It was just the Great Value brand. I think it was $2. If you can't find Gouda or don't, have it on hand, don't want to use it, you could use cheddar cheese. I think pepper jack cheese would be good in this. Just use whatever kind of cheese you like. So once I've got that stirred in, I tasted it, adjusted it for seasoning. I'm going to cover this with a lid so it stays warm and just set that to the side while I make the catfish. So for the catfish, I'm going to use some oil, and I happened to find this catfish marked down at Kroger a few weeks ago. I'd put it in the freezer. I let it thaw. If you can't find catfish at a good price, or you just don't want to use catfish, I know some people don't like it, you could just use tilapia. Really any white, mild flavored fish will work. Then I've got some blackened seasoning. If you don't have blackened seasoning, you can just make your own. Just Google it or look on Pinterest. There's tons of recipes. And then I have some of this Red Lobster seafood seasoning. I found this a while ago at the Dollar Tree. I'm just trying to find ways to use it up. So I'm going to season both sides of the catfish with each of those seasonings. I put the oil in a cast iron skillet. I've got this on about medium-high heat. Once the oil was hot, I added in the catfish, and because these fillets are pretty thin, it doesn't take very long at all, just a couple minutes on each side. And once the fish is done, I did remove it to a paper towel lined plate just to drain off some of that grease, and I'm going to set that to the side while I make up the quick sauce. Now, I've mentioned on my channel before that probably my favorite dish of all time is something called catfish pontchartrain at a restaurant called Cajun Steamer. And they do a crawfish cream sauce. And I was really hoping to find crawfish. I know it's out of season, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I was kind of bummed. But no worries. I just did the cream sauce, and it was delicious either way. So in this skillet, I have added a little bit of oil. I'm going to add in some diced onions and bell peppers. And I season that with just a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm going to cook those for a couple minutes until they are translucent. And I forgot to mention, I also added a couple pats of butter. So once those are translucent, I added in some minced garlic, cooked that for 30 seconds, and then I'm going to add in some heavy whipping cream. And then just on medium heat, I am going to simmer this until it's thick. With this cast iron skillet, it was really hot from frying the catfish, so it didn't take very long. I would say it maybe takes 3 to 5 minutes. Just be patient with it. When it thickens and it coats the back of a spoon, it's done. Taste it, adjust the seasonings to your tasting, add a little more of the blackening seasoning, salt and pepper, whatever you feel like it needs. So here are the plates. To serve this up, I just laid down a bed of the grits, added a piece of the catfish, spooned some of that sauce over it, garnished it with some green onions, and then for the side, kept it super simple. I just took some zucchini, cut them into sticks, tossed them with some olive oil, salt, pepper, and garlic powder, cooked them in the air fryer at 400 degrees for maybe 8 or 9 minutes until they were tender and slightly golden brown. And this was a delicious dinner. And with the grits only taking 5 minutes to boil, and then the catfish being really quick, this dinner took 30 minutes. So this was an easy dinner, delicious, and really comforting. For dinner the next night, I made Crockpot Korean BBQ. I'll be sharing how I made this in an upcoming video next week, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to start out, though, by making one of the side dishes. I just decided to do some steamed broccoli and carrots. So I had some of these carrots. I peeled them with a peeler, obviously washed them first. I cut them into pieces. I placed them into a bowl with a couple tablespoons of water, and then I placed some plastic wrap over top of it, popped it in the microwave, and cooked it for about 4 minutes. After the 4 minutes, I took it out, added the broccoli florets, recovered it with the plastic wrap, gave it a stir, recovered it, and then popped it into the microwave for another 4 or 5 minutes until the veggies were tender. I did add just a tiny little pat of butter and some salt and pepper, and then that was it. Quick and easy side. Here is that Korean beef I mentioned, and it may not look like much. I know it looks pretty brown, but it is delicious. It's so good. Now, you can serve this over rice or noodles. I am using these Momofuku noodles. This is the soy and scallion. I got these at Target, just cooked them according to the package instructions and added the seasoning packets. And then last time I made this, I served the beef over the noodles. This time I decided to mix the beef and the noodles together. Delicious. And so that's what this is. And then I had some kimchi in my fridge left over that needed to be used up, so I decided to serve that with dinner. So here are the plates. We've got the steamed broccoli and carrots, the Korean beef and noodles, and then Gary has some of the kimchi on his plate, and this was a delicious dinner. Can't wait for y'all to see that Crockpot Korean beef. It's really yummy. For dinner the next night, I made garlic Parmesan chicken skewers. Now, I've seen these all over Instagram, and I'm not cool enough for TikTok, but I hear they went viral on TikTok, and I've kind of heard that everybody has done their own version. I saw one from, who did I see it from? Your Barefoot Neighbor. I'll have his Instagram link down below. I pretty much followed what he did. I just did a couple things differently, but again, his Instagram will be linked down below. And I do have people that watch with their kiddos and family. He does swear in some of his posts, but it bleeps it out. So here is what I'm going to use. So first up, he used chicken breast. I'm going to use chicken thighs. And then for the seasonings, I've got salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, and some Tony Chachere's. So I'm just going to rub the chicken thighs with olive oil after I have cut them into cubes, and then add the seasonings. I didn't measure, I just eyeballed everything, and I'm going to pop that into the refrigerator for about an hour just to marinate it. Next, I skewered the chicken onto some wooden skewers, and you could do this on an outdoor grill. If you're going to do it on an outdoor grill and you're using wooden skewers, make sure you soak them before you put them on the grill. So I'm going to air fry these. I popped them into the air fryer at, what did I do? I think I did like 360 degrees and cooked them for about 10 or 12 minutes on one side, flipped them over, cooked them for another 10 or 12 minutes. You just want to cook them until they're at least 165 degrees internal temperature. Some people say for dark meat, cook it at 175. So if you're one of those people, cook it at 175. Just either way, don't undercook your chicken. That's a bad idea. Always make sure your chicken is thoroughly cooked. Now for the Parmesan garlic sauce, I didn't follow his recipe because I had about a half a bottle of the Buffalo Wild Wings garlic Parmesan sauce in my fridge that I needed to use up, so I'm going to use that. Now, if you've never had this bottled sauce that you can buy like at Walmart or any grocery store, if you've never had this before, it can be a little spicy and a little salty. So I added in just like maybe a tablespoon of honey and combined that garlic Parmesan sauce with a little bit of honey to kind of cut the heat a little bit and the saltiness of it. So once the chicken was done, I brushed both sides with that garlic Parmesan sauce, popped it back in the air fryer for just maybe 3 or 4 minutes to allow the sauce to set. Now, for the side, I made some cheesy ranch potatoes. I'll link a recipe in the description box below. I just eyeball everything. I've made this many times over many years, so I eyeball it. But again, the recipe will be linked down below. So I've got some of these little baby potatoes. I just popped them into the microwave and cooked them, added a couple tablespoons of water, covered it, and cooked them for like maybe 6 or 7 minutes until they were fork tender, and then I quartered them. To the potatoes, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper and then some ranch dressing. Just use your favorite bottle. This is the semi-homemade. It's just the Hidden Valley dry ranch mix according to the package instructions. I forgot to mention I also added in some garlic powder. You can do whatever seasonings. Next, I'm going to add some shredded cheese and then give that a good mix. I'm going to place that into a greased baking dish. I'm going to spread that out and then add a little more shredded cheese on top. And then sometimes I stop there. Sometimes, like tonight, I add a little bit of cooked bacon. I've got some of these bacon pieces, so I'm going to use that. Bacon's optional, but I'm going to sprinkle a little of that on, and then this is going to go into a preheated oven. I think tonight I had this set at 375 degrees, and I baked it for about 15 or 20 minutes until the cheese was melted and it was bubbly. And then to garnish it, I added some green onions. I can't remember now what I was going to do for the other side dish, but I had two of these salads from Walmart that really needed to be used up. So this first one, the cranberry walnut, it's actually a yummy salad. It's got like flatbread crisps, feta, cranberries, and like a raspberry vinaigrette. It's pretty good, but it needed to be used up. So this first plate is mine. I've got that salad, the garlic Parmesan skewers, and then the cheesy ranch potatoes. This next plate is Gary's, basically the same thing except for his salad. I had the Walmart, I think it was their chicken BLT salad for him. And this was a yummy dinner. I mean, you can't go wrong with potatoes, cheese, bacon, and ranch, right? And then those garlic Parmesan skewers were really yummy, and the salads were good. So quick and easy dinner. For dinner the next night, I made sushi. Now, I've shared how I make this before a couple times on my channel. I'll link one of those videos down in the description box below for you. Here's what I made tonight. So I did a couple shrimp tempura rolls. Some people also call these crunchy shrimp rolls. I just bought some frozen shrimp tempura, cooked it in the air fryer, and then added some avocado cucumber. And then on top, I drizzled it with some sriracha mayonnaise and eel sauce. I did a California roll, so I did imitation crab, cucumber, avocado, and added some sriracha mayonnaise and eel sauce on top. On this other plate, I've got another California roll. I just didn't add anything on top. And then I also did a Philadelphia roll. Gary really loves this roll. I don't care for cream cheese in my rolls, so I don't prefer it. But it's just smoked salmon, cream cheese, and I think tonight I did avocado and cucumber just because I had it on hand. And then I've got some extra eel sauce and sriracha if we want to add it on top. Now, earlier this day, I realized I had tofu on hand and I had some miso that I got from Thrive Market. I did a haul and review from them. I'll link that video down below. And so I was like, hey, why don't I look up a recipe for miso soup? Now, this isn't authentic. I didn't do like an authentic broth. I did a shortcut, but I used what I had on hand. So in this pot here, I have some water with chicken bouillon powder. I brought it up to a boil. Once it was at a boil, I took out some of the hot broth and added it to a separate container. I added in my miso paste, and I will, of course, have the recipe I used in the description box below. I whisked in the broth miso combination and then just allowed that to cook for a couple minutes. Once it's cooked for a couple minutes, I'm going to add in the tofu. I've got some extra firm here. I just cut it into cubes. I'm going to give that a gentle stir, and then I cooked that, just like on medium-low heat for another couple minutes until the tofu was warmed all the way through. Now, when we have miso soup out at Japanese restaurants, we normally put a little dash of soy sauce in it, so I added a little dash of that, and then I'm going to add some chopped scallions, and then that's it. The soup is pretty much done, y'all. This took like no time at all. It was so quick and easy to put together, and it was delicious. It was really good. So I decided, like I said earlier this day, to do the soup, and I was like, you know what, a ginger salad would be delicious. I was out running errands, so I just grabbed some ginger salad dressing from a local Japanese restaurant, and I had some bag salad mix and just put the salad dressing and the bag salad mix together. Here are the plates. So we've got the sushi, the miso soup, the salad. This was delicious. It was like we were at a nice sushi restaurant, and it was a fraction of the cost. And if you've never made homemade sushi before, don't be intimidated. It's honestly really not that hard. You just need a little bit of equipment. Like I think a bamboo mat would be good to have, and then obviously like maybe some chopsticks, and you need some sushi rice. But other than that, and the nori, it's not that hard. You don't need a lot of complicated fancy ingredients. I find everything that I need at my local Walmart and grocery stores. It takes a little bit of practice, but there's no sushi police. If your rolls aren't exactly perfect, who cares? It will be delicious anyway. And I do get people who reach out to me who say like, hey, I've always wanted to try sushi, but I don't really know what to get, or eating raw fish kind of weirds me out. So if that's you, I would recommend the rolls that I shared with you tonight. With the tempura shrimp, the shrimp is cooked. With the imitation crab, it's cooked, number one. And number two, if kind of crabfish, goodness, crab maybe weirds you out a little bit, maybe you've never had it before, the imitation crab, it's really mostly just white fish. So if you like tilapia or, anything like that, that's pretty much what it is. They just add a little bit of color to it. And if there are things that you can't have or you don't like maybe avocado or cucumber, just substitute stuff. Again, you're in your kitchen. There's no sushi police. If you don't want to put avocado in your shrimp tempura roll, don't. You can substitute sweet potato, cucumber, whatever you like. Just experiment. Like I said, it's really not that hard, I promise. If I can do it, you can do it. I did not feel like cooking at all the next night, and we had a coupon for a free papadilla from Papa John's. When I order from there, I usually get emails saying like, hey, if you take a survey, you can get a free papadilla. I did it one time, and the coupon was getting ready to expire, so I said to Gary, we're ordering Papa John's, and he chose the Philly cheesesteak for the free papadilla. And then for the pizza, we just did a pepperoni pizza. We added pineapple to half. Yes, we are those people that like pineapple on our pizza. It's delicious. Here are the plates. We just have some of the pizza and the papadilla. I hadn't had the papadilla before, so I tried just a little piece of Gary's. It was actually pretty good. That was dinner this night. We had leftovers for lunch the next day, and we also had $10 in Papados. So between like the tax and tip and their delivery fee, we only paid like I think $11 out of pocket, which wasn't bad for dinner. I've mentioned several times before on my channel a restaurant called Phat Bites, and that's Phat. They are a restaurant. They've been on like Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives and other cooking shows. They're located near the Nashville International Airport in Nashville. But they've changed their menu quite a bit over the years, but they used to, when I went all the time, they were like a deli. They would make all kinds of chicken salads, pasta salads, homemade hummus, all kinds of yummy things, sandwiches, wraps, and I don't get over there a lot. And then, like I said, they've changed their menu quite a bit, but I tried to copycat they call it a Phat veggie wrap. So here's how I make it at home. Let me walk you through this. It is so yummy. If you're a vegetarian, you're trying to eat a little bit healthier, or you're just looking for a yummy, delicious dinner or lunch, I recommend you give this a try. It's really good. I'm going to start out by pressing my tofu. And if you've never had tofu before, it's basically a soybean product. To be honest, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but it really doesn't taste like a whole lot. It's very, very, very bland. It needs flavoring. It needs help. But it has a lot of moisture in it. So I start out by getting the extra firm, and then I press it. All you do is set it on some paper towels, put some paper towels on top of it, and then you need to add some weight. You can do that with a big can. I like to add my cast iron skillet, and I just let it sit for, I don't know, like maybe 30 minutes or so. They do sell tofu press, but a good cast iron skillet works just fine. So after the 30 minutes, here's kind of what it looks like. As you can see, it's a little bit squished, but it is dried out quite a bit. I'm going to cut it into cubes. And I don't know if you could tell there like how damp the paper towels were, and you could see that I could wring it out. So definitely you want to press it. So we're going to pop this in the air fryer. I'm just going to season it pretty simply. Here is about the size of the cubes. I added that tofu to a bowl. I'm going to drizzle it with some olive oil, and then we're going to season this up. You can use whatever seasonings you prefer. I just kept it kind of light today so that it kind of went with the other flavors in the wrap. I tossed that olive oil, and then for the seasonings, I'm going to do salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika. And once I've added the seasonings and I just eyeballed it, I gave it a little toss. I am going to spray my air fryer basket with some cooking spray. Now, if you don't want to do this in the air fryer, you can do it on a skillet on top of the stove. You could fry it, however you want to prepare it. So I'm going to add that seasoned tofu to the air fryer. I'm giving it a shake so it's in a single layer. I popped this into the air fryer at 390 degrees. I cooked it for about maybe 6 or 7 minutes, pulled it out, gave it a shake, cooked it for another maybe 6 or 7 minutes until it was crispy. And that's it. This is what it looked like when it was done, and we're ready to assemble the wrap. Now, for the wrap, really you can use whatever you'd like. I have these spinach, so I just popped it in the microwave for, maybe just 8 seconds to warm it up. I'm going to add some hummus. Use your favorite brand, use your favorite flavor. This is actually homemade hummus. I'll be showing how I made this in an upcoming video. Next, we're going to add some sunflower seeds. Now, I know these ingredients, they may sound a little bit weird, but this wrap is delicious. And there's so much protein and fiber in this. It is so filling. Next, we're going to add some brown rice. I happen to have some of this brown basmati on hand. This is just the microwavable. I just popped it in the microwave according to the package instructions. Next, I added some black beans that I rinsed and drained and then dried really well. Then I'm going to add some pico de gallo, and there's quite a bit of liquid in this, so I'm trying to get as much liquid off as I can. Then I'm adding some chopped lettuce and then our cooked tofu. Now, Phat Bites does serve this with goat cheese on the inside. I always ask for it without the goat cheese. You could add goat cheese if you like. I think feta cheese would also be good in this. So I'm going to roll that up, and then that's it. The wrap is done. Now, to go along with this, I am making I think it's called a Lexingtonian salad. I saw this on Come Sit at My Table. I just recently found their channel. They are fellow Kentuckians, which if you're new to my channel, I was born in Kentucky, spent most of my childhood there. Most of my family still lives there. But I just recently found their channel, saw this, and had to give it a try. We're going to start out by making the dressing. It's basically like a little zhuzhed up ranch dressing pretty much. So to this bowl, I've added in some sour cream. I'm going to add in mayonnaise. Next, I'm adding in some dry ranch dressing mix, ground mustard, and then I'll add buttermilk and milk, and then that's pretty much it. We're going to add that and then give it a really good mix. And while I do that, I just want to mention real quick. So I know I say, and a lot of other YouTubers say, to check down low in the description box. What they mean by that is, so when you're watching a video, you will, of course, see the video at the top of your screen, and then you'll see the title of the video. Underneath that, it should tell you like how many views, how many days ago it was posted. It'll have some hashtags, and then you'll see the text that says ... more. Click on that, and you'll see some more information pop up, and you'll see another ... more. Click on that, and then you'll be able to see the full description box. And I know a lot of YouTubers do this. I do as well. I put all kinds of links down there, all the recipes and everything from my videos. I have the timestamps down there, and then I have like some of my favorite kitchen products, my playlist, all kinds of good stuff. So that's how you do that, in case you were wondering. So once I've got the dressing ready, I popped it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes and let it sit, and then we're going to assemble the salad. The salad is super, super simple. We've just got some chopped lettuce, and then cooked bacon that I chopped up, some chopped up tomatoes. I did remove the seed, and then we're going to add that dressing and give it a toss. Now, that's where their salad stopped. I decided to add some shredded cheese and some chopped almonds on hand, just because I had it on hand to use up. Here's the finished salad, and I did forget to mention I did add some salt and pepper. I've been trying to remember to season my salads. I started doing that lately. It's simple, but I feel like it makes a difference. Here are the plates. We've got the wraps and the salad. Those wraps, like I said, they are super filling. Even my meat-loving husband loves these. And that salad was pretty yummy. Just the little addition of adding like that little bit of ground mustard and then doing the mayonnaise and the sour cream with the buttermilk and the milk. It was a nice little twist on like a regular ranch dressing. For the last dinner in this week's video, I tried a new recipe for honey garlic shrimp and broccoli. Of course, it'll be linked down in the description box below for you. So we're going to start out by making the sauce marinade for the shrimp. In this measuring cup, I'm going to add in the honey. Next, I'm going to add in the soy sauce. And this recipe, it was easy to put together, and this dinner was super, super quick. So if you're looking for a quick and easy weeknight meal, highly recommend this. So once we've got the soy sauce, we're going to add in some ginger. You could grate your own fresh. I've got this tube. I'm really trying to use up the tube, so I'm going to use that. And then minced garlic. You can mince your own, of course. I'm just using the garlic in a jar, or jarlic. Next, we're going to add some crushed red pepper flakes. Now, the amount that the recipe called for, I didn't find it to be spicy at all. You got quite a bit of honey in there, which is going to balance that out. If you want to add a little more heat, of course, you can add more red pepper flakes. So I'm going to give that a good whisk, set that to the side, and then we're going to add some shrimp to a bowl. These were already deveined when I bought them and the shell's taken off, but I removed the tail. We're going to take about a third of the marinade. You want to save the rest of the marinade. You need that for the sauce later. Add about a third of the marinade to that shrimp, and then you're going to let this sit for just maybe about 30 minutes or so. It doesn't need very long, and then we're going to get the dinner finished up. I've got my wok, well, it's just shy of high heat. It's one notch lower than high heat. I've got it hot. I'm going to add in a little bit of oil, let that oil heat up. And if you don't have a wok, no worries at all. Just use the biggest skillet you've got. I'm going to add in my broccoli florets, season it with a little bit of salt and pepper, and I'm going to cook this for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 minutes or so, stirring it every once in a while, just until the broccoli is nice and bright green and it's tender. Now, the recipe doesn't say to do this, but the last minute or two of cooking, I did add in a couple tablespoons of water. That just steams the broccoli, helps it get tender faster. Now, I forgot to mention this, but if you don't have the 30 minutes to let the shrimp marinate, just let it marinate like in the amount of time it takes for your wok to heat up and you to cook the broccoli. If that's all the time you got, that's totally fine. So once the broccoli is tender, we're going to remove that from the heat and set that to the side. Now, to the wok, we're going to add in some butter. You could also add in some oil if you prefer to do that. And once the butter is melted, we're going to add the shrimp in. I should have completely drained the liquid off, but I was just trying to hurry up and get this done. But you do want to add as little liquid as possible so the shrimp gets brown, instead of steaming. So you just want to cook this for a minute or two until the shrimp starts to turn pink. It doesn't take very long at all because you've got this on a high heat. While the shrimp is cooking, I added cornstarch to the reserved marinade, gave it a really good mix, and I'm adding in that cornstarch reserved marinade mixture. We're going to turn this on like medium-low heat and cook this for just a couple minutes until that sauce gets nice and thick. Once it's thickened, we're going to toss in that broccoli, give it a taste, adjust the seasonings to your taste. Here is what it looked like when it was done. Now you can serve this over rice, fried rice, cauliflower rice, noodles, whatever you like. Tonight I served mine over brown rice. And then on the side, I made some sesame ginger sugar snap peas. I just recently shared this. I will link the recipe down in the description box below. Gary ate later than I did when he got home from the gym, and I forgot to take a picture of his plate. It was basically the same thing, except I combined brown rice with some instant white rice. I didn't have quite enough brown rice for him, and just mixed that together, and then he had the exact same thing. And we both really enjoyed this, and to be honest, that broccoli was bomb. It was so good. It just like soaked up all that sauce. It was delicious. So like I said, if you're looking for a quick and easy weeknight meal, highly recommend this. All right, that is it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, got some new dinner ideas to try from it. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.